Hi, I'm LeVan Atkinson. I'm the technical service specialist here within Robert E. Mason, and I've been in the control valve industry for 35 years, and today I'm here with Mitch Jones.
So LeVan, wanted to talk about why do we utilize OEM field service technicians to repair control valves, and that could be repair control valves that are in a shop or repair the control valves that are in the field. And being in the field, I mean like they are in line and you're in an outage. So let's talk a little bit about why you would consider utilizing OEM services.
When you take your car into a dealership and you watch the technician working on your car, don't you look at the patches and stuff on his arm that he's certified in this industry, he's certified in that industry? We're the same way. When we wear the Emerson Robert E. Mason insignia on our hats and our uniforms, we're certified to work on that. We go through rigorous amounts of in-house training, online training to make sure our technicians are capable of doing the work they want to do. We got different levels of technicians, level 1, 2, 3s, to make sure they progress and constantly learning the different challenges that are out there in our marketplace. When I started 35 years ago, everything was analog. It was just like dial-up internet. Now we're broadband, fiber, and positioners and control valves are the same way. They're high speed, they're technical. You got to have laptops to be able to talk to them. It's not shade tree mechanics anymore. You got to have some mechanical aptitude, but you also got to have some theory, thoughts, computer skills in order to be able to work on control valves, and that's what we do. That's what an OEM technician brings to the table.
So let's say you're in an outage, the plant's down, and you open up a control valve, and the control valve is welded in line, so it's not one that's easy to get out. It's got body damage, but it's not to the point that it can't be repaired, so it needs some repairs. So I've got this guy over here, Joe's welding shop. Why can't I just get him to come over and plug up that hole for me rather than bringing in the Fisher crew with their tools and whatnot?
Well, if it's carbon steel, maybe so. Well, what if it's WC6? What if it's WC9? What if it's got those types of metallurgy in the control valve? We can't even just weld that up, and we're the OEM. We have to weld it. Now we have to bring in heat treat folks because you got to do stress relief to make sure that weld repair is going to make sure that valve is going to last like it's supposed to. It's just not all about just putting a little bit of weld in a valve and calling it a day. You may have to do that. The second part of that is, what if we weld it up and you got to machine it back to some sort of tolerance? Every control valve has a certain stack height that they have to maintain, and that's really based on the style gaskets, whether they're silver-plated Monel gaskets or flexitelic gaskets. You got pretty tight tolerances of how that valve stacks up. So when you button it all back up, that you got a component that's the integrity is there, and it's not going to run into body-to-bonnet leaks. If you machine that back to whatever dimension you think it is to clean it all up, now you change all that gasket crush and change that stack height up, and now you run the risk of having body-to-bonnet leaks. Now you really got a problem because now you're back on trying to come back online, and the valve's pouring steam or air or whatever all over the place. And so that's why you don't want to have just anybody weld or machine on a valve, especially if it's welded in line, because if it's welded in line, it wasn't cheap to start with. Yep. And you want to make sure that you repair that because it's high pressure. From a safety perspective, you want to make sure that valve's repaired correctly.
And I think you hit on something that we want to help people understand is you have to do that machining. You weld and then you machine. And okay, so what? I've only made, I don't know, it's just a little bit of weld. If I'm off a 32nd of an inch, is that really going to make a big difference?
Absolutely.
And the answer is yes, it will.
Yes,
and you won't know it until you start up.
You won't know
more
it
than likely.
Yeah, and you might not know it today, but as the valve heats and cools and runs through its cycles, and everything starts the gasket starts to relax or whatever, then now once you develop a small leak, it does nothing but get bigger and better and better, and it may be in a situation where we see it. A plant says, well, we can't afford to shut down because we can't stop production. So then they bring in the people that drill and Fermanite and leak stop, lose that leak stop, and now you've really destroyed a valve body, and you just cause more work on yourself, where all that could have been avoided if you just spent the time to do it right the first time.
Yep, and understand that we know that there are times where customers may have to come in and what we call shoot it,
Yep.
but we have seen times where that type of product ends up, something goes wrong, they get too much in the line, it goes downstream, and then all of a sudden it fills up a cage in one of our control valves downstream.
Yep.
And then they do shut down because they don't have any choice, because now there's no flow.
That's right.
We've seen that happen.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So those are the types of things that you have to consider that may not be obvious at the time, but they can be repercussions on down the road.
But an OEM technician, if he's there, he knows that. He understands when he opens that valve up. He knows what to look for as what the repair process will be. If we do see damage in a valve body, he knows how to put it all back together. He knows how to stack it all up. He knows the correct torque values to put it back together. We know how to pack the valve correctly. We know how much packing torque to put on there to get the required amount of friction so the valve will shut off. We have access to all that information through training, documentation, and procedures that we follow when we go to repair a control valve.
So what we want you to understand is there is a lot that goes into control valve repairs, and there are reasons for utilizing the services of OEM technicians. So if you'd like to learn more, contact us at our office at 704-375-4464, or you can contact us on the web at www.remason.com. Thank you.
Thank you.